What's up, everybody? So, I think you guys are going to find this hysterical. So, I've been recording all of my videos up until like this one and the one just before this one. And so I record on an old Galaxy S8. Yes, that is correct. Why? Because that's just like a spare phone that I just happen to have. It still works. So my brain said, hey, just use that to record while you have your normal phone. You know, I even bought like a fancy phone holder for it and everything. Blah, blah, blah. And then I also bought this fancy mic that plugs into the device, right? The USB-C. And so I've been plugging in this microphone into that Galaxy S8, thinking that, because the microphone lights up, like everything on the microphone is legitimate. It lights up, it does all the things it's supposed to do, which would indicate to me that it was working. And so I just assumed it was working. I now come to learn and realize that the phone is just so old that it does not actually recognize that technology. Because I'm trying to remember what exactly happened, but in an emergency, I ended up using my normal phone to record the video before this one. And so when I plugged in the device and it turned on and it recognized it and blah, blah, blah. But when I hit record, a notification popped up saying, mic is recording from USB device. Because when I would do that on the S8, it would never do that. I'd never get that notification. So this entire time, I've been thinking that I'm recording off of this fancy USB mic that I've got, only to find out, no. How's that for a unk moment? I mean, honestly, it's practically a boomer moment at this point, but please excuse me. My nose is a little stuffy this morning, but yeah. Bought a mic, thought I was recording with it this whole time. The mic works. My setup wasn't working. Too funny. But anywho, there are a few videos that I had recorded. I guess I can't really call them videos, but there's a few topics that I had recorded myself talking about, but for whatever reason, I think I used like my son's real name in one of them, and in another one you could see like I was parked at a grocery store, and you could see somebody in the shot, and the random few inches of space that you could see outside of my windshield, somebody just happened to be in focus, and so I didn't want to post that. I don't think that's fair to them. So I'm gonna re-record a little bit, just the two that there's two of them, and basically one of them was about that's what we're talking about right now. That's what I'm talking about. It's Tears of the Kingdom and Age of Imprisonment. I'm talking about them both because I do have a lot to say about both of those games. I'm gonna start off with uh, Age of Imprisonment. Age of Imprisonment is now it's a Warriors game, which means you just do a bunch of hacking and slashing. Like that's kind of like all you do primarily. And so like I know my friend, he's another big Zelda fan. Zelda is top 3 favorite franchises for me. So like I like Zelda a lot, right? And excuse me. My nose is really stuffed for some reason. Anyway, so I'm a huge Zelda fan. The Hyrule Warriors game, the first one, was so stinking good. And then they freaking pumped out Age of Calamity. And oh boy, let me tell you. I'm going to put you guys on pause real quick. Alright guys, sorry about that. I'm back. But got myself a Halls for my stuffy nose. But yeah, Age of Calamity came out, dude, and I was so excited for that because Nintendo was marketing it as if it were canon. Like basically like this is how the champions fall, you know, this is blah 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 blah. Like that sounds sick. And I can't wait to play it. Because my friend, he got bored. He got bored with Hyrule Warriors. So, but that was strictly due to gameplay reasons. He wasn't a fan of that. And sorry for that awkward pause there. He got bored with the gameplay, right? Because that's not... He's a fairly intelligent person, so like mindlessly turning your brain off and just, you know, swinging your sword wildly, excessively, you know what I mean? Like I could see, I understand how some people would be turned off by that style of gameplay. But not me. Not me. Your uncle likes to just mentally check out and zone out and relax. And, you know, I play video games as a de-stressor. And it's what I believe its original intended purpose, escapism. So it's like, I put the game on not easy. I'll put it on normal. I don't think I've ever... I mean, sometimes I'll put a game on easy just to, like, try it out, see how easy it really is, but, like, I won't play the game in its entirety that way. But I also don't put it on, like, the harder difficulties, because that's not... I'm not playing the game for a challenge. My life, my everyday life is challenging enough. Thanks, but no thanks. So Age of Calamity comes out. I'm super stoked. I'm so excited, right? Because I'm thinking like, oh, okay, cool. Like, we're going to get to see all this hidden stuff. Because Breath of the Wild doesn't really... There are a few, like, what they call memories in the game where you can, like, see what happened in the past while Link was taken out. But, like, this game was basically us allowing the players to live out those moments. And so, blah, blah, blah. It was really hype for me. And again, they were, like, marketing this thing like this is canon, like this is what happened. This is the untold story of how the champions fell, all this junk. And so I'm like, all right, cool, sold. I play the game, and I get to the part where all the champions are fighting the blights, their respective blights. Sorry for all this clearing my throat. But so I'm thinking like, all right, cool, like now this is the end of the game as far as I was concerned, because that's that's the end. Ganon wins, and he comes back, and blah blah blah, right? Nope. Time travel shenanigan bullcrack Deus Ex BS go. Like the freaking, well, I mean, from the very beginning of that game, I should have known something was going to be off, but like I was so hyped, I kind of just overlooked it. The sorry guys, I am. The introduction of the character Terrico. Oh, it's not even a character. It's basically like a nice guardian, like a really, really small egg-shaped one. And this thing has time travel powers, apparently, unbeknownst to everyone. The Calamity hits in whatever timeline they're in originally, and Terrico time warps back. And I'm assuming to try and prevent or help the fight against the Calamity, but yeah, like as soon as the champions are about to fall, Terrico summons like all of their like their predecessors. No, predecessors is past tense. Successors, there we go. Terrico summons all of the champions' successors to that timeline, just in the nick of time to save everybody. And I'm like, I remember I was so annoyed and disappointed. I genuinely was contemplating just putting the game down and like not even like finishing it. I was just, oh my god. Just thinking about it now makes me annoyed all over again. Yeah. What a colossal disappointment of a game. And like, your Unc is like old school, right? Like, I believe in physical media. I believe in like getting your money's worth and stuff. So I don't sell a lot of my games, primarily because I don't really buy a lot of games. So the game was bad when almost immediately after finishing it, I put it up for sale. Almost immediately. I cannot tell you just what a disappointing game that was for me. It even got like some DLC that was like, it seemed pretty interesting, but I didn't, because the DLC basically gave you like Zelda on a motorcycle. It gave you Pura and Robbie back when they were young, and so like that was cool. But yeah, I did not even bother with that game's DLC. I was just so disappointed. And even after the fact, like, Nintendo was like, oh no, it is a part of the timeline or whatever. And like, just kind of like Breath of the Wild or Tears of the Kingdom, they just kind of like gave it its own little branch. I'm like, that's not... Just because you're including it when you talk about the timeline doesn't mean it's a part of the timeline. Like, it's mentioned, it's there, you see it, but it's separated from everything else, even from Breath of the Wild. So it's like, what was the point of that? Yeah, I feel so betrayed, I guess, and disappointed. But anyway, Age of Imprisonment comes out, and they actually finally stick the landing with this one. There are some like pretty like fantastical things that happen, like things that are even kind of like a bit of a stretch for even like Zelda. Like I mean, I'm just gonna spoil a lot of it, so this is your warning. Spoilers for Age of Imprisonment. If you haven't played it, play it or watch a playthrough. Okay, you've been warned. They stick the landing because everything that happens in Age of Imprisonment almost perfectly, at least as far as I can tell or remember off the top of my head, lines up perfectly with the events of Tears of the Kingdom. And we find like all these, not too many, but just some like really cool like hidden lore details. So for example, like when Ganondorf came to Rauru and like swore allegiance and all that jazz, right? Turns out that dude lived. They allowed him to live at the castle for like 6 months. Like, we just assumed he swore allegiance, went back to the desert, and then showed up one day with a plan to, you know, take the secret stone and all the other stuff that we've seen in the game. But no, the dude was living at the castle. That's kind of crazy to me. Like, I would never have thought ever that was an option. Or the most noteworthy, I don't want to call it a plot twist, but like basically it's an explanation for something that's happened in the game of Breath of the Wild for a while now. In the Breath of the Wild, there's a hollowed out tree that's pretty big. People speculated that it was perhaps one of the Deku trees, just because of its size, right? But it's hollowed out, and if you fall inside of it, you can find a really worn out Gerudo spear just chilling in there. And so, yeah, again, this was before people were like trying to figure out stuff about really all kinds of things about Breath of the Wild, and that's why that game is so great. It literally just allowed the community to speculate, fantasize, theorize for years. In fact, I think, well, I don't know about right now, this very moment, but even shortly after Tears of the Kingdom released, I would still see videos about unexplained mysteries and, you know, and theories about Breath of the Wild. Like, that game was so good. Anyway. So it turns out that spear and that tree are a part of a character. Oh, what's his name? Shucks, I am not going to remember this dude's name. Calamo or something like that? So, Calamo is a Deku. What are they called? Oh my god, I'm brain farting so hard right now. Turn in my Zelda card. They're Koroks, there we go. He's a Korok, right? And he kind of looks like a little musketeer. He's got like a musketeer's hat on, right? And he's got a sword. And he's pretty big. Like, I wouldn't say he's as big as Hestu or whatever, but like he's somewhere in between like Hestu-sized and the normal-sized Koroks. But apparently Koroks can find a place to live and like literally take roots and become these really big, mighty trees. And so like that's all this dude wants. I'm looking for a spot to plant roots, and I'm calling it good, right? Which, now that I'm thinking about it, like, does that mean that planting roots means that they die? Or at least lose sentience? That's an interesting question. I'm going to have to look that up and see if anybody's talked about that. And so Calamo, his story is kind of like a B-side story to the main Age of Imprisonment storyline that's unfolding. And he ends up saving some Gerudo women. So Ganondorf basically betrayed like a battalion of his warriors, and Calamo saves them. And they, they're like, "Hey, we're grateful, blah blah blah. Is there anything we can do for you?" And he's like, "Oh, I want one of your spears." And they're just kind of like, "But you already have a sword." And he's like, "Yeah, I know, but the spear is gonna help me stay propped up when I plant my roots." And so, boom, Calamo is that giant tree, and the spear is the one that he got from those warriors all those years and years and years ago. And I thought that was so cool to me. Hang on, guys. I got to put you on pause one more time. All right, sorry about that. And so there we go. And so, like, that was really cool, right? Finding out that that's pretty much like explaining that mystery, right? Which, to be fair, like, I understand, like, some people were like, they weren't complaining, but they were kind of like saying, like, we don't need every mystery explained. And I agree with that. Like, part of what made Breath of the Wild so amazing was all of those unsolved mysteries. And like I said, just pretty much allowing the community to kind of like piece stuff together and, come up with their own conclusions. Like, I think Breath of the Wild in recent memory is probably one of like the best games to ever do something like that. There's whatchamacallit, like a lot of those like Elden Ring, a lot of the like the Souls games, right? Like they also kind of have that world building through context clues, through visuals, and literal documents that you can find scattered throughout the world. So I know that they are another game franchise that does, like, basically, like, we're not going to tell you what happened, you need to figure that out for yourself type of world building. I personally have never delved into any of that because, like I said earlier, like, I play games to relax. So when I hear people going on and on and on about a game that's like brutally hard, like, that does not sound like a good time. Yeah, going back to Age of Imprisonment, like, obviously it's like really cool that you get to play as like, Raru and Minoru. I would say like playing as some of the sages, but it's like we've kind of already done that, It's not bad by any means, but it's been done. We've played as the champion Goron. We've played as the champion Rito, Gerudo, Zora. Like, like that's nothing really new. We've been there. We've done that. What else? I need to wrap this up here pretty soon. I guess all I can say is that I'm just glad that Nintendo learned their lesson and that they actually listened, because I would have to go back and check, but I'm almost certain that people were pissed about Age of Calamity like I was. Like, I just felt like I was lied to. Like, you guys made it sound like this was like an integral part of the timeline and blah, 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 blah. And nope, psych. We're just doing whatever the F we want with the story, and we're going to mention it when we talk about the timeline, but actually it being a part of the timeline, not so much. So, like, yeah, that kind of irked me. I really wanted to get into talking about Tears of the Kingdom, because that's another game that just, honestly, dude, like, I'm not going to sit here and say it's as bad as Age of Calamity, but it definitely irked me, and I definitely just feel like, not betrayed, but just disappointed. I'll talk about that in another video. But for now, that's all your unks got for you. If you made it this far, please let me know down in the comment section what you thought of Age of Calamity and Age of Imprisonment. And I'll see you all later.